now. What's up, everybody? I hope you're having a great week. My name is Travis, host of the show, along with my co-host, Jen in the house. How you doing?
Here I am. I'm chilling. I love podcast day. And I love that podcast day is usually on Friday.
Friday. Oh, it just makes the weekend, is a great way to start the weekend. Like, let's just talk a little YouTube and some shenanigans.
Right?
And let's just not worry about the hard stuff of the week.
Just chill.
Yeah, I agree. I think also I know a lot of people are like, well, is Jen on this week? We actually have a message I just saw like the first thing, like, hello, who's here? I don't. I'll read the email later, but like
to
whoever
whom
happens
this
to be
may concern.
Yeah. And in fairness, yeah, every so often Dan or Rob will come back. As a matter of fact, I'm sure they'll be in sooner rather than later. We even talked about doing an episode where it's the three of us. I think having the four of us would be fun too, but we'll see. So Jen is super busy with coaching lately. But, just to be totally transparent to the entire listenership, like I always want Jen here. I wanted to be every single episode. But some of y'all are signing up for coaching.
Right? Wait, stop. We're doing too good of a job.
Yeah. I think too many people are signing up. I know for a fact because I have a link that I put in the description in the show notes. If you're interested in one-on-one coaching, as a matter of fact, there's a link in the description in the show notes.
And we have a great promotion going on right now. So
Right. So I've been tracking that link, and yeah, last week we got a lot of clicks. So super happy and excited for that. We also got a lot of comments on the videos. The YouTube channel is doing well. We are close to 1,000 subscribers, Jen. Can you imagine?
Stop. It's like almost here. It's almost
crazy.
here.
We are, I think, probably within the week that this podcast goes live, we'll probably hit 1,000. But as we sit here now, it's like 9:15 or something. And we've been doing it for about a month and a half hard. If you look at the channel, the three videos that were uploaded on the same day when we first posted, we just kind of threw them out to see what would happen because we weren't really sure what we were going to do with this channel. And initially, we weren't even posting the podcast on this channel. So let's be clear. In my mind, we started a month ago this week. Let me. Might have been 2 months ago, but it feels
Let's
like I think it was
some
like
analytics.
Let's pull them up. Let's take a look because we like to share. And we've had people say, hey, I love when you guys share, what you guys are doing. So the first podcast that we posted here on this channel was July 22nd. So I'm wrong. So it was like 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, it does honestly feel like a month ago, but still.
Yeah, about 6 weeks ago. And we're in that time, we've gained almost 1,000 subscribers, which is amazing, incredible. And there is an email that someone asked us about more of our strategy, which we'll talk about later, which is great. But of course, if you're new here, there are a couple ways you can reach out and send us a message. If you're listening to the audio only podcast, in the show notes, there's a link that says click here to text message us. And if you click that, it sends us a text message. So we have a couple of messages from there. Let's go ahead and get started there. Hey, Travis and Jen, I enjoy the show. My name is Brian, and I have a channel called I Have Comic Issues. Now, before I read any further, we're going to try to guess what type of channel it is. I don't know if he tells us or not. Is it a comic book channel or is it a comedic channel? What would you say just from the name of that channel?
I immediately went comic book.
I did too.
Okay.
I did too.
Wait, are we right?
Says. I don't know. I wanted to ask, what are the rules about showing clips or movie trailers in my video and doing reactions to them?
Oh.
I don't want to get hit with strikes or copyright issues. Thanks, Brian. Ironically, we just shot a copyright video.
we did, actually. Did it go out yet?
No, it will go out. Let me tell you, this was perfect timing here. We literally just shot a copy. I didn't know this was a video.
Fake.
I know, it totally does. It sounds totally made up. No, so it is scheduled for September 26th, so 20 days, for like 3 weeks. So,
just a couple days away, we'll answer your question.
No, let's get him a bit of an answer here rather than like, yeah, in 3 weeks you'll get your answer. So, jeez.
Talk about a call to action.
I was excited. I'm like, oh my God, we just shot this. You'll get to see it. No, you won't. Okay. So the more in-depth video you're going to want to watch on the main vidIQ channel. But to give you a quick answer, there's a lot of different aspects to this. And just understand that no matter what you do, if you use any copyrighted content, you do run the risk of getting a copyright claim or copyright strike. It doesn't mean you will. And what I think people get confused on it, they think that it's black or white, and it's not. It's very gray. Because if a particular piece of music, and we'll talk about one of the things in the video, you even mentioned it, you got caught for something once.
Always.
Yeah, we'll talk about that for sure. I wanna hear
Copyright queen over here.
Sometimes it's like you could throw something in for a while and nothing happens, and then sometimes, like Jen, what was it? Music in the background or something?
It was
What
music in the background of a bar I was at. Like, I couldn't even hear the song that was playing, but they were like, nope, that's Justin Timberlake. We said no. And they were like, you may not put this on YouTube. We don't even want the money. We said no. So I had to edit. And this was before the new, I mean, this was several years ago. And this was before the new feature where you can edit it a little bit more precise. So you could mute the section or cut it out. I think I went with mute because nothing I was saying was like super important, and cutting it out I felt like was weirder. So I muted it, and he just played off. Was like, what? That was muted. My bad.
So now that's for music. They're referring to like, but I want to get to movies and stuff here in a minute. But to your point, now, which I think is interesting, and some people might not know this, you can look ahead of time and know what's going to happen to your video for music.
Yeah,
I actually did this the other day.
Yeah, you have to. I didn't know that we lived in a world where people weren't doing this. This was one of those things that I thought was like everyone is doing it.
No,
but they're not.
No. The way to do it is you go to Creator Music Beta. You'll see that on the left-hand side of your screen when you're in studio. And then you can search for a music track. Now, if you already know you're going to use like some popular music, you can search for it. And when you search for it, it will tell you what will happen. Now, you do have the option in some instances to actually purchase a license for the track to use in the video, and then nothing happens because you've paid for it. But it'll tell you what happens if you don't do that and you just use it. A lot of times it'll be like, well, if you use it, the singing artist or whatever will get the money. Sometimes they'll split the money with you. And in very rare cases, they'll just straight up block the video. Those are the worst ones. Like, I would rather just the creator get the money than to block my video altogether, right? Because then you don't get anything out of it.
Like, that's just wildly inconvenient as well.
And the same thing applies for movie and movie trailers and clips and stuff. So what I would do is I would look at some of the more popular and successful creators that are doing this, but understand, and we said this in the video, that just because it's on YouTube does not mean they're actually monetizing any of it. What's interesting about this is this happens to a lot of creators. I just saw a video last night. Have you heard of the YouTuber Sunny V2? They do documentaries, really short documentary style videos on big YouTubers and stuff. And they did one on Nick Avocado, the guy who eats, right? And he's got 3 channels. They're all big channels, and you would think he's made lots of money. But he just recently had this video where he was talking about how he's not making any money and stuff. And it's because most of his videos are not monetized. They're ineligible through YouTube, right? But you wouldn't know that by just watching it. Especially, I have premium, so I never see commercials anymore. So you would think, this person's rich and stuff. And he's like, no, I'm barely making it. That's because not everything gets monetized. So again, when you're looking at these channels that do like movie reviews and clips, I mean, you'll look at it and say, okay, they use this much, I can use that much. That might be true as far as a copyright strike goes, but as far as a claim goes, it's all up in the air. So one of the things we talked about in the video is fair use allows you, usually between 2 to 5 seconds, depending. There's a section we talked about where you don't take to heart. This is really the interesting stuff you're going to want to watch in the video. But to just basically say, take as little as possible. If you're talking about a particular scene, you can show it. You're better off not using the audio from the clip, just using your own voice over top of the clip will actually help you somewhat. So yeah, those are the kind of the first things that pop to my mind. Anything else you can think of off the top of your head?
Really, just that it's a gamble.
Yeah,
it's a gamble. I mean, you just got to know that if you want to test some of this stuff out. And sometimes it's not accurate either. Like, I just had a creator the other day who got a copyright claim for some movie related stuff, and fighting the claim, it was totally fine. And it was released. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not really something to be scared of. I always think it's worth going for it.
The juice is worth the squeeze.
Maybe I shouldn't give that advice, but
this is not legal advice, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, right?
Jen's just saying that she likes to YOLO a lot, and it's up to you if you want to YOLO. But yeah, so just 2 to 5 seconds. Try to not use the audio whenever you don't have to, and really use as little as possible to get your point across. Would be my things there. All right, next one up. Hi, Travis and Jen. I've been making videos for about 5 years. My channel's doing pretty well, but I have a question about mid-roll ads.
Ooh.
I love questions we haven't really gotten yet, and this is one we really haven't gotten yet.
They're exciting.
I have never put mid-roll ads in my videos because I hate watching them on other videos. They annoy me, and I don't want to do the same to my audience. I'm okay with not getting the extra revenue if it means a better experience for my viewers, but recently I've been wondering if not using mid-roll ads could hurt views. YouTube seems to value view duration as least as much as percent viewed, but if that's the case, keeping people on the platform longer only benefits YouTube if ads are being shown during that time. I post a lot of videos that are about 20 minutes long. If I don't show mid-roll ads, that means that YouTube is showing the video for a long time and getting very little in return. They would have little incentive to show someone else's video. They would have incentive to show someone else's video over mine if that one has mid-roll ads. Do you have any evidence to theory true? This is from Rob. Yes, I've spoken. So this has been spoken about multiple times by YouTube directly. I've also asked the question directly. We know what their answer is. Now, to be clear, here's where it gets tricky, Jen. Because I believe what they're saying. However, they haven't always been right when they've said things. Like the evidence says other. Like, you never had like a conversation with a friend. I know, come on. Like, have you ever had someone tell you something and they're like, yeah, this is it. And you believe them. But then later on, when you go try to do something that doesn't work, like or something's wrong or something,
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right. So here's what they say. They say that the algorithmic part of YouTube that looks at like suggesting and ranking videos is completely separate and has no knowledge of whether or not a video is monetized. Now, there's been lots of videos and YouTube channels over the history of YouTube that have said, hey, when you don't monetize, look how few views it gets. Look at, and sometimes you look at it and you go, oh, so then it must, and it makes sense because, as Rob said, they have little incentive if they're not getting as much money. And that makes logical sense. And I have a very hard time letting go of logic in the face of something that isn't as logical. So I agree that it is confusing. Again, I'll give you the YouTube answer that we know from YouTube. They've said multiple times in multiple public places, and I myself have actually asked executives at, well, I wouldn't say executives at YouTube, the same exact question. And they say they're completely separate. They don't know about each other, and it does not have any impact on the video as far as like performance. What have you heard, or what do you think?
First of all, can we acknowledge that Travis just like looked YouTube dead in the face and called them liars?
I didn't say that. You're trying to get me canceled? What's wrong with you? Jen out here trying to get me canceled.
I'm also calling them, I don't know if my argument's calling them liars or not, but I've just experimented personally. One of my channels is purely for experimentation, and I have eliminated all mid-roll ads for an extended period of time to see what the effect of that was on retention.
Okay.
There was none.
There was none. Interesting.
There was none.
You know what I'm going to say, and this might surprise you? I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised either. People are conditioned into seeing ads. They don't even notice when they're not there.
Yeah, I'm even going to take it a step further, because one thing we do know about the way that the ad system is supposed to work when you don't manually place ads, when you let YouTube automatically place them, is that YouTube uses the information it knows about the viewer to place ads strategically, and not just the viewer, but the video. They know where people drop off. They know that some people don't have a tolerance for ads, so they won't show as many to that person. So if you're going to let ads, I just let the system figure it out, right? I don't want to have to figure it out because I might mess up. So I think you're both right in the fact that some people are just used to it and just like, it is what it is. It's 5 seconds. Let me just click past it. And just, this video is so good, I don't care. And I also think that along with that, that YouTube's AI knows a lot of things about like the viewer's perspective of what they're going to tolerate or not, and will either show you less ads because they're afraid of losing you off the platform, or, timed it just perfect. So yeah.
Realistically, one of my friends sent this to me and I just like never forgot it. And they were like, honestly, I have premium and everyone should have premium. So yeah, I don't really care who's stuck watching the ads. I'm It's just like, whoa, savage.
Super
He's like, I
savage.
hit autoplace and I move on with my day. And if
Oy
you don't have
vey.
premium, oh well.
Is the one thing that I have not regretted like purchasing and having, so much so that I forget I have it, Jen. I forget I have it.
That's what
And
I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
you
you're
know it.
used to not seeing ads. So like
Exactly.
the second you see an ad, you're very like alert to it.
Yes.
So
I'm like, what is
people
this?
who are used to seeing ads are so used to seeing ads that they don't even really notice them.
Yes.
Like it's just second nature to be watching a YouTube video, waiting, oh, skip ad. Okay, skip ad. Like it's just normal part of watching YouTube for people who consume it that way. At least that's what I think. Because I personally have never shut off a video because an ad popped up.
No, listen, here's the thing. You're talking about having 20-minute videos. 100% you should have a mid-roll ad. Like some people would have multiple in a 20. For sure, at least one. Like I wouldn't even be offended as a viewer. Like 10 minutes. If I'm still watching a video 10 minutes, I'm invested. I'm pretty invested. In one ad, while I might be a little annoyed, I'm not going to be annoyed at the creator and take it out on the content I'm watching.
Yeah, right?
Might be upset
It's
at
YouTube's
YouTube,
fault.
but
Yeah.
Not you. It's like,
Like,
whatever.
what?
Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it if you feel like the extra bit of and some that that can kick up an RPM. If your retention is good, it can make a big difference on your your end check that you get.
Yeah.
All right, we got one last text message from the United Kingdom. All right, so hi folks, I'm loving the podcast. I'm only at 200 subscribers after almost 2 years. Monkey face, closing the eyes. I love that.
Whoa, we don't want to hear
Emojis.
only 200 subscribers.
That's
200
200 people. That's a lot of
subscribers is
people.
great.
That's a lot
you
of
ever
people.
had 200 people in a room?
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. Lately, I've been seeing several videos advertising the use of other people's content. Basically, download an already popular video from TikTok, Instagram, or wherever, and change the music, add some text to the screen to avoid copyright, which, by the way, that does not avoid copyright. I haven't done this, and it leaves a bad taste in my mouth, but I want to get your take on it. Surely any subscribers that you get through this method would unsubscribe pretty quickly. Keep up the great work. I've always enjoyed his vidIQ content, but his podcast and Q&A sessions are great. Thank you for that.
Oh, I'd love to hear that.
We love to be loved. That's what.
Love. Feed us
love
all
love.
the compliments.
Please. This is a good question. I love this. There are always these, get quick subscriber. It's almost like get rich quick schemes
Yep.
all over the place. Just
Yep.
take all of Jen's videos, put some music behind, different music behind them, different words, and you get all the thousands of subscribers.
There
Yeah.
you go.
That's what I'm going to do.
That I'm gonna do the same to Travis. I'm gonna Photoshop my face on his though. I'm gonna take it one step further.
Definitely want to do that. Make sure you keep the beard though. Okay. So, to be honest, like I think this is pretty obvious. I think anyone who's a creator, I think people that listen to this podcast are real creators, true creators, not trying to find shortcuts. They just want to find the actual success. I appreciate that. I respect that, and I love that. And I will forever, for all the time that I have, help people that are doing that find and meet their dreams. Like I've been able to do it multiple times as a coach. Jens does it every single day, and we love that. Things like this, where you're taking other people's content. I mean, just imagine that was you. What if someone took your content and then took it somewhere else and then put just different words on it and then got a bunch of views? You probably wouldn't feel so good about it. And the question is like, that's more of a moral thing. Like, oh, how do you? But it's not even about that because you're not avoiding copyright just by putting different music on it. So that's complete garbage. That's not true at all. But I think the thing is you got to look at like, what are you trying to accomplish? We say this so often on this podcast, Jen. What are you trying to accomplish? Are you just trying to get a bunch of views so you see a number go up? Well, there's lots of ways of doing that. You want to be a faceless channel. You don't actually want to be the person in front of the camera and stuff, which I never understood. I don't get that, Jen. Like YouTube is a video format. I don't understand faceless channels so much.
Yeah.
I less understand faceless, voiceless channels than I do faceless channels. But ones that don't even put their voice in, I'm like, I don't understand why you're here. Like, why are
I've
you?
never ever met a faceless, voiceless channel creator that wasn't just trying to get rich quick or thought that YouTube was the get rich quick solution. That's been my experience every single time. And oh Lord, have I had my fair share of those creators.
Now, not to talk them down, and my guess is there's at least one person listening that goes, well, I'm faceless and voiceless. we're not talking down to you or anything. And to be clear, I would love to hear from you. Send us an email, theboost@vidIQ.com. We would love to hear from you, or you can send a text message and tell us why. I just think it's hard for me to understand like why. Not that I'm against ever learning why, and I'm the type of person where if you tell me enough things and it makes sense, I'm willing to accept it, even if I don't understand it at first. So I'd love to hear your perspective. If you are a faceless and voiceless, not just faceless. Faceless, I get.
Faceless.
I get faceless.
Yeah,
I get
exactly.
It's fine. But faceless, like you're using AI voice, you're not using anything. Like I don't get that. That sounds very uncreatory. But anyway, to this, like I think you know the answer to this. I'm really glad that you sent us a message. And likely there's someone out there listening that probably has the same exact question as you did. Like, can I just take this other stuff? I mean, maybe you could, but at the same token, what are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to inspire people? You're not going to inspire people by doing this. Are you trying to make money? It's going to be hard for you to make money by doing this. Are you trying to become popular and successful? It's almost impossible to do it because you're not even in the videos. So a lot of the reasons that people create on YouTube, are you trying to be creative? Well, okay, maybe you could be creative by taking other people's stuff and remixing it in an interesting way or something. Sure.
But you said remix. That's different.
Yeah, that's different.
That would be the solution to this.
That you're right.
Say that again.
What is? Look, once a show, Jen. You get one a show. You were right. Now tell them what remix means, because now people are like, remix. Okay, well, what does that mean?
Remix is, I feel like it's just more known on TikTok, where how do you say what a remix is?
Listen, people didn't know what 10 of 10 were.
Wait, how do you put that into words? What actually a remix is?
I know. See, this is the thing. We need to make it very clear, because we've been told multiple times on this show. Sometimes we talk over people, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be very clear with people.
You'd be doing your own version of the same piece of content.
Okay. For example,
does that good? Does that make sense?
That's pretty close.
It's
so for example, like those TikTok dance things, maybe you could do a different version to a different. So like if there's a TikTok dance to a specific song that everyone's doing, what if you did the same thing but like to a completely different type of song? And what comes to mind all the time is I've Ruined It. Have you seen that YouTube channel, which will probably be my channel I'll talk about later today?
No.
Then, I think it's called There I Ruined It, where they take songs and completely change them. So for example, they'll take the lyrics and an AI voice for like 50 Cent and do it over like country music.
Oh, that's funny. I just
and they do it all the time. And there's even one where Snoop Dogg reacted to the one they did for him. That's hilarious. It's just hilarious stuff. And that's a remix. That's taking like what is a song and then completely flipping it on its head. I think it's called I Ruined It.
Yeah, it's There I Ruined It.
There I Ruined It. And it's a music channel. So that, by the way, is my video channel recommendation that we do at the end of the show. I'm saying it now. That's a remix. And that's a great channel, a phenomenal channel. I'm really curious. So In the Club, but by Conway Twitty /Fitty. But I think the thing is, I don't know how his monetization would work, because the song is, quote, new, not new, but does he get claims? I'm really curious about that. I wonder if we could get a hold of this person and have them on the show, because that would be interesting. Well, we'll see. There is an email address, so maybe we'll reach out and talk to them about it and see if they'd be interested in coming on the podcast. Okay. Down to our emails. So if you want to send us an email, it's theboost@vidIQ.com. Theboost@vidIQ.com. And this one's from Corbin. Hello, Boost crew. Thank you for asking my previous email. It's given me a lot to think about. I'm not a great public speaker, and as such, my speech is peppered with filler words when I talk. Aha, all those things. I mostly notice this in my live streams, where I can't edit them out. In my long-form videos, I usually cover them up with Zoom cuts, but I'd rather not have to make a lot of cuts. I try to do this on my own by calling my channel Awkward GM Corbin. In your unedited video you posted, I know. So, by the way, for those of you who may not have seen it, and I do want to talk a little bit about this before I finish this email. So we had talked weeks ago about releasing videos that when we record them in an unedited way, so you can see what it's like for us to shoot these things, and you see the produced video on vidIQ's channel. And people loved it, which was great. It was amazing. And it's truly what it looks like. Some people were like, oh, it's you set it up and you were... No. That's literally the way it is every single time. And the interesting thing is, he goes, in the unedited video you posted, I noticed that neither of you seem to use filler words. Really?
Ooh.
I feel like we do.
Wait,
we
that's
don't?
like so interesting because when I'm recording video for creators, I don't think that's true at all.
Really?
I mean, I think I do focus pretty heavily being on video all the time with the creators that I work with, of making a conscious effort to speak more directly and just take pauses instead of using words like that. But let me tell you, that's not always true. So,
well, so I have a theory about this whole thing, but let me figure out. Let's finish
wait, you
this
have
email.
A theory?
Oh, I have a theory about filler
You
words, but let's
theorized?
finish this. Girl, I think about
okay.
this stuff all the time.
Okay.
This is my
Okay.
job. All right, let's finish this. Do you have any advice for people looking to speak in a more clear way? Advice I got from another YouTuber was to film my videos in one take and reshoot if I'm not happy with the take. Normally, I film about short 30 to 1 minute sections and splice together the shots together. I'll explain that here in a second because there's a story behind that too. Maybe I'm overthinking it and my current process is good enough, but I'm always looking for ways to improve, which I highly recommend anyone looking to grow their channel. Thank you, Corbin. Great question, Corbin. Okay, I love this. Again, another thing we never really talked about on this channel. Filler words. I believe, here's my theory, and then we'll go into some of the other things he said. I believe most filler words are created when someone feels like they have to say something when they don't. They are extending or they're not comfortable with silence. I think that's really what it is. When people aren't comfortable with a silent moment, like as they try to think things through, they use an or an as they're thinking about something. They're like, I need to know what my next word is. I've been blessed with knowing what my next word is before I even say it. So that's how I can get through some of this stuff. I do realize, though, I'm sure I probably say I probably do, and I just don't realize it. But it's because I'm able, and I think Jen, we're both comfortable with the silence of just, I'm not going to say anything. I'm trying to figure out what I want to say next. And you are very comfortable in your silence because you will just sit there and wait and think it through before you say it. You won't go, because you're doing the same thing. You're making a noise. You're uhing without uhing. You know?
Non-verbal
The non-verbal So what do you think about that thing?
That's okay. I do think there's truth to that. I think that there is a comfort in silence you have to get used to and not feel like that's more awkward when you're kind of gathering your thoughts. But I do believe that there are times where I am so excited and I'm speaking so quickly that my brain can't even process fast enough, like to my mouth. And that there's tons of like filler word, like when I'm trying to just, what was I like? And it just gets scattered. But that's also ADHD. So
a lot of
sometimes
people
those sentences just don't even finish themselves either. It's just a bunch of just like,
yeah, that right
saying?
there. What just happened? Her brain just rebooted. I think it's amazing that he said that he watched the unedited version and we didn't really seem to use it. I'm shocked by that because I just assumed that I do, but I'm also and it wasn't always this way. Obviously, I think when you first start doing YouTube videos and stuff, there's a lot of things you're not comfortable with. It's just weird to look into a camera. At this point, like I'm over it. Like, yeah, okay, I look in a camera, it's fine. And I don't feel weird about it. I don't feel weird about upping my presence so much more than if I talk to you in person. Like my personality on camera is gonna be slightly different than in person because in order to get, I always feel like you need to pump up at least 30 to 40% of your energy on camera because it doesn't come through otherwise. Above and beyond what you think you're presenting. And I actually, it's funny because I found this when I was doing it myself. I'm like, I could have sworn I said that more excited. And I would watch the video back. I'm like, it doesn't seem like I'm excited at all. But I felt it in the moment. I don't know why I didn't. So I started pumping myself up more to make it come across. I actually did the same thing with a creator about a year ago. I said, it doesn't sound like you're coming across very excited. He goes, really? I thought I was. I go, do yourself a favor and do three takes. One where you're like 20% more, 50% more, and 80% more, 100% more. And then let's look at them and let's see which one looks and feels the best. And it turns out the one that was like 80 or 75% more felt better by watching it. He goes, I had no idea that this was a thing. Like, I didn't know that I wasn't coming across this way because I feel this way. I'm excited this way inside. I guess it just wasn't coming across. So that's one of those things that I feel like is helpful. Being comfortable in the silence is the other thing. Let me ask you about this, Jen. I don't know if you do this because this is something Rob Wilson and I have talked about, and that is shooting things in one take versus filming 30-second and 1 minute sections. I used to do what he's saying he does. I would talk in a paragraph or so, and I'd like stop. And then I would talk into the paragraph, stop. And Rob Wilson still does that to this day. And I told him, I go, bro, things got so much easier for me when I just turned on record and just went for it, mistakes and all. And then if I feel like I didn't get it, just do it again. I don't hit stop on a record until I'm done. Which do you do?
I never stop recording.
Good.
Never.
I think that's the right way.
I think like the average size of my clips when editing are like 5 to 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
I might be more on the extreme side of it. We don't know.
I mean, it feels right because like I'll shoot a video that gets edited down to like 10 minutes. My raw footage is maybe 12, but I'm just sitting there stream of consciousness the entire time. So
I think, yeah. I mean, I think it's a better way to do it, even if I know I'm like re-recording something, or if I say something and notice that I don't finish my sentence, or
we never do that. What are you talking about?
My favorite thing that drives my husband insane is that I'll go to be like, okay, first things first, and then I'll say like, all right, one, blah 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 blah. I never have made it to a number 2 in my life. I start everything as a list, and I never in my life have made it to a number 2.
Jen, that's definitely a shirt we have to do.
I
need you to understand these things. Number 1, blah, 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 blah. Number 2, nothing.
Number 2 is blank. Number 3 is blank. Like, never. It just never has happened. Ever.
Oh my God. Things I'm bad at. Number 1, counting. Number 2, blank. Number 3, blank. Number 4, blank. Oh, we got to do that.
So whichever person wrote in and said that they have filler words, we all have toxic traits. They may not be likes and ums, but we all have toxic traits.
Jeez. Corbin, I hope that helped you. I think you're overthinking it. Do whatever feels best and what gets you through your recordings. And if you want to do a bunch of small ones, that's fine. But I definitely recommend trying the longer approach. See how it feels for you.
I also think it's worth leaving some of them in. Nobody speaks perfectly.
Bro, I do that all the time. What are you talking about?
Nobody has like a perfectly scripted, wonderful camera presence. That's not relatable.
People like it when you mess up.
Yeah.
I used to keep all that stuff in. I loved it. Okay. This is a cool one. This is by someone who calls himself Sniper. Oh, that's scary. So, hi, whoever is hosting the podcast today. Okay. Accurate, because we're not sure sometimes. You look like you were drank something. You're about to spit it out. What? Were you about to spit out water or something?
No, I can't do that because my computer's here. Then I'd be in big trouble.
Oh, man. People listening on the audio podcast, like, what's going on? If you're watching the YouTube channel, you might have just seen it. All right. I run a mobile gaming channel, and I recently hit 1,000 subs. Hey, congrats.
Hey.
Over 2 years ago, when I was 15, my channel had about 250 subs, and I got a sponsorship offer. That's interesting. At 15
That's
and
so cool.
250 subs, okay. Unfortunately, I couldn't accept it back then because of my age, but they mentioned they'd be willing to revisit the offer once I turned 18. I'm turning 18 in November, so I'm wondering what are the chances the offer will still be on the table, and most importantly, how I should approach the company to bring it back up. The initial offer was sent via email, and then I talked to community manager company on Discord. Also, since this would be my first sponsorship, what should I expect? When it comes to negotiating my first sponsorship deal, what should I keep in mind to make sure I'm getting a fair offer without underselling myself? Oh, that's a great question. Thank you so much for any advice you give. Also, I'm a new listener to the podcast. Started listening to y'all a couple of days ago. Loving it so far.
How'd you find us?
This person is 17 listening to us podcast talk about YouTube. So that's great. We love the youngins. This is a great question. There are people super passionate about this subject. Justin Moore is great about this. But here's what I will say. And I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this, because I think this is one of the subjects that whenever I say something, someone has a completely different take. Like Jeff has a completely different take, which is fine. Totally fine, because I feel like It's so important, and I will freely admit that of all the things that I'm good at on YouTube, this is probably one of the worst things. Having said that, I have worked with a lot of sponsors, and I've made a lot of money doing it. But I could have made a lot more money doing it because I'm not good.
Okay.
Let me give you a piece of advice. If you send an email offer to someone, if you go like, okay, I want this for that, and they immediately come back and say yes, you just undersold yourself. It's the worst email you can get. You might be excited at first, but when you're a savvy veteran like me and they immediately say yes, you just lost a bunch of money.
LOL, JK. That was a joke number.
Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking, oh, you meant for just this? I was thinking this number for all of this.
This literally happened to me only a couple months ago. I was like, oh crap. Can I just say I meant to send this to someone else? I mean, like, I gave them a number that I was like, there's no way they're going to say yes. It's fine. I hate doing sponsor stuff, so I try not to even bother with it. I'm like, here's a number. They're like, yeah, sure. I'm like, that means they would have taken almost double. And for people who don't know, let me explain. If you send out a number that's too high, they will let you know and they'll ask to renegotiate. If you send out a number and they immediately answer, it's because they thought you were going to ask for more. They were willing to negotiate.
They were prepared to negotiate.
Right. You undersold yourself. So that's why you getting an answer back is actually bad. Your response should be, well, that's a little high. We don't have a balance for that. You know, would you take this?
Yeah.
It has to be that. Otherwise, you just lost money. So
It's tough. It's a
for
tough
an
industry.
18-year-old, what do you think? If Gen 18 just got her first YouTube sponsorship,
Okay.
knowing what you know now, you're talking to Gen 18. We're calling her Gen 18.
Gen 18. Ooh,
Hashtag
I like
Gen 18.
that. Oof.
What would you tell her?
Fun.
It does. It's interesting. It's almost like a movie name, like a Keanu Reeves. Like she's Gen 18.
Sounds fun.
She's in the Matrix. Gen 18.
Like, just general advice wise.
If you were in this exact situation, if Gen 18 was in this situation, she was 15, got an offer too young to take it, going to try to circle back around, a couple years later, assuming that the company's still in business.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say?
I would probably tell her the long game is better.
What does that mean?
Go for the long game. Go for the extended contract. Go for the relationships, the connections.
I agree with this. I think there comes a time later in life, once you're an established creator, where you don't want to necessarily do longer stuff unless the company's great and you just really love the product. But I think right off the bat, as your first one, like you want to make that connection because you want to be able to use that name to get other sponsorships, to be able to show you've worked with another company and that you have a track record. Like that's so undervalued, or I shouldn't even say undervalued. It's underappreciated. That's a thing that actually works, totally works. So I agree 100% with what Jen just said. Figure out what feels fair to you. Talk to them about if I'm going to do this. You also have to remember this isn't a company just trying to give you money just because it's cool. They need a return on investment. They need to see some type of return, whether it be exposure of their brand or if they're selling something. Like they're going to have to see some type of return, and they might even ask you, well, how many do you think you can sell or something like that? And the question might be like, oh crap, I don't actually know. I've never done this before. All right, well, I mean, you have to remember it's a business. So all that being said, figure out something in your mind, in your head that goes, if I got this, I would be happy and I wouldn't even care. And then ask them, hey, this is kind of it's new for me. I'd like to help you guys. But because I want to come through for you, can we talk about doing more of these over the course of a slightly longer period of time? And of course, you can charge a little bit more. So maybe I'll do 3 videos. So instead of maybe they offer you $100 or a product and $50 or something like that, and you go, instead of that, why don't I do 3 videos, which will give you much more opportunity to succeed? And instead of like $100 in the product or whatever it is, maybe it's like 200 or 250, and I'll give you a discount, and I'll do it across 3. That way, you've now established that the chances of them getting the return on investment's higher. They are paying you a little bit more, but not so much that it's like it doesn't make sense for them, and it might seem like a value to them. And they also might again, make sure that whatever this company is like, reason is good. Like look up their stuff, because here's the other thing. There's a lot of YouTubers been caught up in scams. Yeah. It's a shame when this happens. And they promote a company that's a scam, and who gets who eats crow on that? The creator. You do. If you promote a company that has a terrible product or something, your viewers will let you know about it, and they're going to look at you completely different. So do your research as well. Gen 18 might have just signed a good deal.
Gen 18 would also spend a lot more time on the actual content. I've done some really crappy sponsored content.
Like what? Do
like
tell.
Just no effort. Like honestly, just like free money mentality. Where it's like, yeah, I'll just throw you in my video. Instead of like actually making a killer ad and like a really organic fit, or having the video actually like revolve around the sponsorship as an idea. Like that's a big one. You have to realize like this is your resume. If this is a way that you plan on genuinely making money, which will probably be the biggest source of your income if that's the goal, like you have to prove yourself. And you have to send these to companies, and you have to have this, like, these examples as your resume. Yep. So these first ones you get is free for creators. Take them. Practice. It's a lot harder than you think to make sponsored ads.
Yes.
I will say that. But the first time I laughed, I got into a fight with my husband. It took like 6 hours. And I was like, what the hell? This is 1 minute. How is this even possible? Like, this is literally 1 minute.
Yeah. And the thing that Jeff would add a lot to this. He would talk about, like, don't let them tell you, like, how many. The other thing is, like, if you do it and they need edits, you have to do something that's reasonable. Like, tell them 2 or 3 edits at the most, because after a while that becomes a pain in the butt. And then, again, once you get established and stuff, you can start kind of culling back the things you're willing to accept. And I just think, in my mind, get up and get running. Get a resume of people and companies you've worked with. I feel like that is a good way to go. It doesn't mean you can't play hardball. A lot of times you play hardball and you have no resume means you struck out. You ain't getting a chance. So
I think there's different phases of it.
Yeah.
Different phases of like where you are within that industry. And if you're just getting started, do what you can to learn from every single area.
Yeah. Okay, so last message. This one comes from Chance, and it starts off with, hello, insert host names, which probably include Travis and Jen.
Wait, everyone's being quite funny today.
They are quite funny. And again, like, you will see, because here's the other thing. The other day, you don't know this, Jen. I'll tell you this. I was in a meeting with Rob and Dan, and I go, Jen might be busy. We weren't sure about Jen's schedule this week because, again, she's super, super busy in coaching. And I said, she knows I want her here every single episode. But she goes, we'll see. I said, there might be a chance that Jen may not be able to make it this week. Would either one of you guys be interested? Simultaneously, they said yes. Like, without even, there was no hesitation. They're like, yes. I'm like, what's going on here?
Okay, first of all, listen, Rob and Dan.
Yes.
You may not come for me.
Oh, let's go. Let's get it. Let's go. I love it. I'm sending them this clip. You tell them, girl. You tell them. You say, you can come to my house and visit.
Talking.
That's Gen 18. Tell them you can come to my house and visit, but you got to leave. Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh. When they're on, I'm going to make them wear visitor name tags.
Oh, snap. Let's do it. Let's do that. I love that. Okay, let's get back to Chance's email. This is ridiculous. Okay, I've noticed the Boost still releases content on the main vidIQ channel. Can you talk about the strategy of deciding, I don't know if that's purposeful or not. That's funny, though. Of deciding when a video goes on the main channel versus the new channel. Yes, I'd love to talk about that. I think that's really, really good. And I think it's really, and it's like, what factors drive this split channel publish enigma? So, this is a great question. I do want to talk about this as transparently as I can, because there's a lot of things going on in the background that we can't necessarily talk about to try to figure out where the boost goes, where it ultimately ends up. There is a world in which it ends back up on the main channel completely. I personally, and I would love to hear feedback from the fans on this, whether it be in the comment section of the video for the podcast or in emails or in the text messages. I actually do want to hear back from y'all. Moving forward, you will not see... I think there's one more, let me check. I think there's one more video that's like produced. And when I say produced, I mean edited and has all the, they're usually like 5 to 8 minute videos. Those videos, you know which ones I'm talking about. I believe there is only one more. No, wait, there's two more. There's one about shorts and one about small channels. I'm not even for sure that both of these are going to release on this channel. I got to think more about it because the video content that's actually doing really well for the channel is just straight up this podcast and then clips from this podcast. And I'm happy with that strategy moving forward. There was a thought at the beginning that, the shorter content would help grow the channel forward. And a couple of videos have done well. We have 2 videos with over 2,000 views, which is great for a channel that really only started doing this stuff 6 weeks ago. But I believe that the actual future of this channel is just this podcast and clips from this podcast. I don't think we need any of the produced stuff anymore. The produced stuff will always be on the main channel. That is without exception. So I think what you're going to see is a lot less of that on this channel and more of just clips from the podcast. What do you think, Jen? What are your feelings about this? Because we talk about this a lot.
Yeah, we do. This is a hard one. I mean, to us, they're very, very different audiences in obvious ways. And some of you have made that really clear as well in the comments that you leave. But that is ultimately the decision that was when we were doing produced content intentionally for this channel. That's how we filtered the ideas. Which does this make more sense for? And anything that's really leaning towards community, YouTube bestie, people that are just like really, really deep and just in love with the platform, it goes here. Other, more actionable growth, analytics, more quick information about just YouTube in general, that's more main channel stuff. I feel like that's like the simplest way of kind of our breakdown of what's goes where.
Yeah, for example, a video just went live on the main YouTube channel called like keywords versus tags. Will never be on this channel and was never meant to be on this channel. We made it specifically for the main channel. There's certain subjects that we know because the viewership there is different. So I'd love to hear from y'all. Would you rather have the podcast, in other words, what we're doing at this moment, and then clips from this, stay on this channel, or would you be okay with it being on the main channel? The main channel has stuff that comes out all the time, so I'm worried about it being lost. But I don't also want to put my own bias in front of what the viewers really care about. Do you care that this channel, is easier to find the podcast because it's mainly just the podcast? Or would you be all right with like it all being one thing? So I would love to hear either comments in this video or responses to emails and stuff, because we are still trying to figure this out. So it's something that we're doing at, in real time. We're growing this channel and we're telling you as things happen. So, but I can tell you for certain, 1, maybe 2 more kind of produced videos on this channel. Then after that, it's just a podcast. And we might not even do those 2. I'm gonna talk to Jen about it. We might not even do those 2 on here. We might just do all podcast stuff. So
I thought you were just saying we're not doing the podcast, and I was like, no, backup?
Nah, bro, that's never not happening.
Backup?
No. Podcast is happening. It's a matter of like, do we, have the produced content here? So I just want to see what the other thing is, Jen, if people are like, nah, it'd be great to have it on the main channel because then it's easier for me to keep subscribed. That's
true too. That is having everything in one place. Definitely, makes
I'll tell you right now that Jen and I don't feel that that's the way it should be.
Okay, but I don't want to weigh my opinion, and then you're like,
go ahead
no,
and weigh it.
That's not what we think.
Weigh it, girl.
Oh, you're hilarious.
Yeah.
I think that podcast channels should be separate. I encourage people to keep them separate because I just think this type of viewer experience is so different than anything else on the platform.
Yes. I agree. And I can tell you that our viewerships are different. So the number 1 age group here is older than the number 1 viewership on the vidIQ channel. So that's another thing. And the recommendation engine on YouTube understands that about its viewers. So, we risk a little bit of getting things tangled up. So anyway, we're open to everything. Jen and I think strongly that the podcast should stay on this channel, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I appreciate the question.
Yeah, it's been quite the experience figuring out the both and just the growth in general.
Which I'm super happy about.
I know.
You know, we both have channels that are well over 1,000 subscribers. I have multiple videos with like multiple thousand, but this one felt very special. It feels very special in the middle of like, this feels very special because it's something that we both believe in and did from, you know, once we started doing it, I'm like, there's something here. And to see it happen is really exciting.
It's just fun. The podcast is just fun.
It is. I hope
like,
y'all are having fun.
You don't have that many people in your life that you can just genuinely chat about YouTube with.
Yes.
In like a fun way. Like I teach YouTube a lot all day, and you know, as do you.
All day, every day.
And I provide a lot of feedback and all that good stuff, but it's not all the time that I get to just talk about YouTube and like swap stories and just like chat.
You're right about that. Mm-hmm. Well, I've already given my YouTube channel that I watched this week. There, I ruined it. Which has a bunch. The one, there's some funny ones here. The one I like is the Snoop Dogg Gin and Juice with Kermit the Frog singing it. That's a particularly good one. There's also like the Beach Boys singing 99 Problems by Jay-Z. That's a good one. And like there's just some of these are funny. Boomhauer from what was that show called? King of the Hill, singing Rap God. But my favorite one is Snoop Dogg reacting to the Jungle Book version of like Gin and Juice, and he's watching and he's like, what is going on? It's so funny. I'll show you after we record this because it's so funny. But yeah, there's like Poker Face by Lady Gaga in a 1940s Western swing version. What a great channel. Just an amazing channel. What about you?
Okay. I recently I found Stanley Chen's channel.
Okay.
Last name is Chen. Okay. Stanley as in Stanley Cup, which we all know.
Familiar. Who is this?
Okay, so I'm gonna say smaller creator than I thought he was. He's at 68K, which is still a larger creator. But after watching the videos, I'm like, oh, I'm watching like multi-mil channel easily. So he has a video a month ago, which is really took off compared to his other videos are like 100, 200K. Most of them highly discoverable like that. And this recent one is 1.1 million, which is obviously why YouTube was like, watch this.
Yeah.
And I opened a fake 5-star ramen restaurant.
Oh, wow.
He opened like a pop-up shop ramen serving like dollar ramen. Not only ramen doesn't even like cost $1.
Right.
But like grocery store ramen to influencers, having them think that it was the most elaborate pop-up one night a year. It happens. His grandfather's recipe, and then asking them how much after they ate it they would all pay for a bowl. And some of them were saying like $80.
What? Oh, I gotta see that. I might have to watch that.
It is the best. I send it to one of my creators too, because sometimes I just see videos that remind me of like my creators, and I just like send it to them. And this was one of them, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing.
I feel like, Jen, at one day when this channel's like, you know, as big as we have aimed it for, and we've said we were going for 100,000 on here, that we have a reaction channel where we just watch YouTube and react.
We just watch YouTube. That would be the funniest thing.
It'd be so
ever.
Meta. I see it. I'm going to watch that.
Yeah, I just sent it to you.
Holy crap. I definitely got to watch that.
It's so good. It's so like the production, like everything. I don't know what his story is as a creator.
Yeah, like who is he?
This is time. Like this is time.
I gotta go see this. I'm upset that I didn't come up with an idea like that. I have some good ideas, but that's a good idea. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, we appreciate you. If you are new here and you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We do these every week. Plus, you can go back and watch the other ones. If you're listening on the audio podcast, of course, you probably already subscribed. Otherwise, how'd you find us? We'd love to know how you found us, too. I actually love those stories. We do have a YouTube version of this available, and the link is in the show notes. But also, if you want to send us a message, you can do that there as well. Another week, Jen. We did it. We lived.
Another week.
We have done it.
Here we go. Another weekend ahead.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Keep on keeping on, and we'll see you in the next one.